2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Haas and Bemp Incorporated.
We're gonna do it. Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way. Nothing's gonna turn us back now. Straight ahead and on the track now. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way. There's nothing we won't try. Never heard the word impossible this time. There's no stopping us. We're gonna do it. On your mark, get set, and go now. Got a dream and we just know now. We're gonna make that dream come true. And we'll do it our way, yes, our way. Make our dreams come true. And we'll do it our way, yes, our way. Make our dreams come true. For me and you.
Here we are. Well, good morning, and welcome to Chamber Chatter. I'm Kate Phelan. I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
How are you?
Not too bad.
Good. I want to introduce our guest today. I'm very excited to have Susan Williams. I've known Susan a long time, but today she's with, as my chamber member and a guest with Nations Lending.
Yes.
And her title is, I like this title, Pete, Personal Mortgage Advisor.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You-
And the reason why I picked that title is because one of Nations Lending's mission is to make home loans made human. And that's
Oh, I like
our
that mission.
tagline.
Is it your tagline? I
That's
think
a tagline
awesome.
for Nations Lending. So we try to make home loans made
Yeah.
human, and that reflects in my title.
So we're going to talk a lot about mortgage lending,
Mm-hmm.
primarily with, of course, obviously with Nations Lending.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you and I, we talked offline, and you've got a lot of interesting programs going on, and you're very knowledgeable about the industry. So you mentioned to me that you've been doing this for 30 years.
Yes, I've actually started in the industry many years ago. I've opened and managed 5 different branches in my career. Right now, I'm not managing a branch. I'm just originating because I'd like to just concentrate on doing the originating. I've done the managing. I've opened branches. And
Been there, done that.
Been there,
Yeah.
done that, and now I just want to originate and take care of my clients.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So, so you've had the 30 years, and now you like what you're doing. You like this concept with Nations Lending.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the programs, because a mortgage is a mortgage is a mortgage, but not necessarily.
Not
I mean,
necessarily, right.
and I
Yeah.
think it can get complicated
Mm-hmm.
depending on what kind of a buyer you are. So why don't you share with us some programs that they have that maybe differentiates them from like a traditional bank mortgage?
Well, first of all, a lot of people don't understand the difference, and I'm just going to backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
The difference between a bank, a lender, and a broker. So a lot of times when people go to look for a mortgage, they're like, what do I do? Do I go to a bank? Do I go to a broker? Do I go to a lender? What is the difference? Brokers pretty much are not out there anymore. They've kind of been phased out through banking compliance and everything that happened. So that leaves you with your banks, federal credit unions and banks, and your lenders. And a lot of people think that a lender is a broker, but they're not. A lender is actually, they close and fund the loans in their own name. It's, for instance, say you go to a bank, and a bank may only have vanilla. I'm just going to use ice cream because I like ice cream.
Okay. Who doesn't?
So you go to a bank, and maybe they just offer vanilla ice cream, because that's what they're good at, that's what they offer. You go to another bank and they offer vanilla and chocolate. And then you go to a lender and they have vanilla, chocolate mint chip, and strawberry, cookie dough. So
That's
a
my
lender
favorite.
can offer everything. So sometimes I'll get a borrower that comes to me and says, I went to the bank and I didn't get approved, I got denied. And I get, well, what program did they put you in? And come to find out, they put them in a conventional program, and they're not a conventional borrower. They're an FHA first-time home buyer. I can help you with that.
Okay.
So that's the difference between the lenders and the banks. We just don't have a bank presence, but we're a nationwide lender. We've been around since 2003. We've done $10 billion in home loans.
Oh, wow.
We're A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we're a top mortgage lender in the Scotsman's Guide, which is part of our industry of that. So we're licensed in 48 states.
48. That's awesome.
With over 57 branches. I personally am licensed in about 5 different states.
Nice.
So we can help everybody, but just to, it's just the programs, we offer everything.
Wow. So when we were talking to prepare for the show, say you're a first-time home buyer, and say you're a young family, you're starting out, you've been renting, all your money, your rent money is really kind of going out the window, technically.
Yes.
Where they could be building up some equity, some good credit, right, becoming a homeowner. So let's say, they're, family of 4, husband, wife, 2 kids, but their income just, they can't get a mortgage, let's say, at a traditional financial institution.
Right.
Or maybe the closing costs are a problem. So talk a little bit about that scenario.
Okay, so what I do when I first meet with a client, usually I like to pull the credit because that's going to tell me what programs they qualify for. Because
and everybody will pull credit. If you're going to get any kind of a loan, we all have to give them our credit.
Right, and sometimes when I pull credit, they may not have a credit score, and if that's the case,
some people don't have a credit
some
score?
people don't have a credit score.
I didn't know that.
And so in that case, I will guide them to tell them how they can build a credit score, and they may not be a buyer today, but they'll be a buyer 6 months from now.
Okay.
Because it's educating them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then say they do have a credit score, then that determines what type of program they qualify for. And maybe their credit is high enough for a conventional, but they don't fit the other pegs of a conventional. They don't have the down payment, or they don't have, the reserves or whatever. So then I look and say, okay, well, FHA would be the perfect first-time homebuyer program for you. Or say they need down payment assistance. Say they don't have a down payment. Mass Housing is another first-time home buyer. It requires 3% down. There are income restrictions on some of these programs, not on FHA, but on Mass Housing. But if you don't have the down payment, they have a down payment assistant program to give you your down payment.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so
I don't think, do people
don't
know that?
People don't know about that. Now, say they go for Mass Housing and their income is a little too high and they can't do the down payment assistance.
I'm sorry, Becca, what do you mean by they go for Mass Housing? That type of a loan, you mean?
That type of a loan, and they want to get the down payment assistance.
Okay.
But their income is too high because Mass Housing will go.
There's a cap.
There's a cap on what income you can earn. So I might say, okay, let's go with FHA because FHA does not have income restrictions on how much you can earn. So a multimillionaire can get an FHA mortgage, yes. There's no income restrictions on an FHA. But say with FHA, it's 3.5% down. It does not have to be their own funds. It can be gift from a family member. But say they go, well, I don't have a family member that has 3.5% to give me to buy a house. So I'll go, okay, well, there's some other options you have available. First of all, depending on what town they're buying in, there's a lot of grant programs. The city has one where they have a down payment assistance program. Chicopee has one. Each of the programs with each of the towns are limited as to when funds are available, if there are still funds available, and each of them have different restrictions and guidelines. For instance, Chicopee's is actually a lien, so you have to pay it back. Some of them you don't. Some of them you have to stay in the house for so long. They usually are owner-occupied, so you have to be owner-occupied for them. But once I meet with a borrower, then I can do all my research and my homework to make it happen.
To make it happen for them. So when you these different community programs for the grant money, do you find that they're actually they're workable? I mean, they do help the people. I mean, it's not so restrictive that nobody can get that.
No, they are good. You will have to qualify for them. So sometimes, depending on the program, you have to qualify a little harder than you would for the original loan.
Okay.
But usually they're asking for the same things that I'm asking for.
Well, I mean, there's always a risk. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
financial institution, they want to protect their investment.
True.
I mean, it makes sense.
But there are other options for no money down, which are exciting.
Really?
Yes. If you're a veteran, the VA program, love, love, love this program. They used to call me the queen of VA. I used to do a lot of them. They're great because it's 100% financing, which is wonderful.
Wow.
And the other thing, if you're disabled and you have a disability as a vet, then you don't have to pay the VA funding fee. That is waived.
Nice.
Otherwise, it's rolled into
Yes.
the loan.
Nice.
So that's a great program. The other 100% programs are they have rural housing, USDA. And what that means is the property has to be in a rural housing area, Hilltown.
Rural. Okay. Yeah.
But
Oh,
again,
nice.
Southwick has some areas that are considered rural housing
Yeah.
and some that don't. So if you give me the address, I can check to see
See if
whether
it's
it
rural
falls
housing.
into that category. And it doesn't have to be like country. Sometimes it falls into that.
Just that designation. That's interesting.
So 100% financing for rural housing, and it's kind of a spin-off of FHA. It's a great program. I've done a lot of rural housing. So that's another 100% program, as well as the VA. And then if you do FHA with a down payment assistant, or mass housing with a down payment assistant.
Now, I just know this just from my background, and I know there's Freddie. Is it Freddie Mac and Fannie? What I always get.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
I got okay. There you go. Those two, are they still around?
Well, yeah. There's been a lot of changes
I know.
in my
what-
industry.
Really?
Yes, tons of changes.
Does that
and
come from the federal government? The bank?
Well, they got taken over
Oh.
because they were.
this
There
is-
was, as you know, we've had several financial crises.
Yes,
in our
we have,
industry,
yes.
and I've actually rode those roller coaster rides. I've been in the industry a long time, so I've gone through those. So there's been a lot of changes, but the loans are backed and they are secured.
They are.
When we do a loan, as a lender, I actually run it through the automated engines for Fannie and Freddie.
You do.
Yes, and I get the automated approvals, and as long as I can provide the supporting
The
documentation.
data. Yep.
Yes, then they're a good loan. They're backed and they're approved, even though they may not have a property yet.
Okay.
And so then that way, when the borrower goes out looking for a house, I can provide a pre-approval letter.
So you do pre-approvals
Absolutely.
Okay.
Without a property.
without a property.
Without a property. Because what happens?
How long is that good for? 30
Usually,
days?
It depends. The credit is good for 90 days.
90. Okay.
And then we have to repull it. And then what happens is we may need an updated pay stub, bank statement,
Oh,
if
sure.
it goes past
Make
the
sure they're
30
still- yeah.
days, just to keep the file
Yep.
active. But what a lot of people don't realize right now is it's a seller's market. There's a shortage of property.
There is.
And if you're going out shopping for a mortgage, or a home rather, and you have not been pre-approved, you're kind of behind the eight ball.
Really?
Because what happens is people are going to go, they're going to make offers. A seller is
that's
going to want a
right.
pre-approval letter.
Yeah.
If you don't have your financing in place, they're not even going to look at your offer, because they're not going to take their house off the market for someone
Well,
that
to wait to
might
get
not be able
right.
to get the mortgage.
Oh, so pre-approval, is that important?
It's very important, but not just for that aspect. Another way that it's important is when you're going into this is the largest purchase of your life.
Oh, and major, yep.
And you say, okay, well, I want to get this amount of house, a $400,000 house. Well, maybe you can afford a $400,000 house with your income, but do you want the payment of a $400,000?
I know, yeah. I would, me
so-
personally, no.
So
No, thank
it's, okay, what's a comfort range? What are you paying right now for rent? Granted, you might go a little higher because you're going to have tax benefits and write-offs, but you want to still have a comfort range where you can still go to the movies and go out to dinner once in a while, and you're not going to be up all night being unable to
Yeah,
sleep.
you don't want to just work for the home and
Right,
that's it.
so-
you
so-
want some more disposable income. Yeah.
So when I'm doing a pre-approval and they go out shopping for a house, they know, okay, that kind of house is going to be that kind of payment. Okay, I'm
Okay.
okay with that.
Yeah.
Or for every $1,000 I go up, it's going to increase my payment by $5. You know,
Oh.
so it, or if I go down,
Down.
it goes down $5. So it gives them a rule of thumb. So when they're going out there shopping, they're educated. They know what they're getting into. The only thing that would differ would be the taxes, you know, how high the
course.
taxes are and things. But when they go out, they kind of know what they're doing now.
Which is really so you really educate them.
Yeah, I'm very big into education, and I'm very big into detail. I'm very detail oriented, so usually I'll tell you more than you want to know.
Oh, you want them to be able to keep their home,
Yes.
you know, and give out, you know, do good loans.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. And I want them to feel comfortable in what they can afford and what
Yes.
programs are out there. And the key thing is putting them in the right program.
Right.
I mean, you know, that's huge as well.
We're ready for a break. We'll be right back. Chamber Chatter.
Take that look away. I'm an ordinary man. They don't tell me nothing, so I find out all I can. There's a fire that's been burning right outside my door. I can't see, but I feel it. And it helps to keep me warm. So I don't mind. No, I don't mind. Seems so long I've been waiting. Still don't know what for. There's no point escaping. I don't worry anymore. I can't come out to find you. I don't like to go outside. They can turn off my feelings like they're turning off the light. But I don't mind. No, I don't mind. Oh, I don't mind. No, I don't mind. So take me home, 'cause I don't remember. Take me home, 'cause I don't remember. Take me home. Oh no, 'cause I've been a prisoner all my life, and I can see you. Take that look off me. Mine's an ordinary life, working when it's daylight, sleeping when it's night. I got no far horizons. I don't wish upon a star. They don't think that I listen, oh, but I know who they are. And I don't mind.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldsstate.bncollege.com.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Gosh, equipment snafu here. Sorry about that. I'm all back together here.
I was
Pete.
waiting to open the microphones.
Oh my
you're
God, what the
still
heck?
doing the headphones.
I'm still doing the headphones. Sorry about that.
You like Bob's cross promo?
I did. That's why I was laughing so hard, and my ear thing got twisted. I'm like, oh my God, I'm coming back on the air.
We did that live. We recorded that live.
I know.
And he screwed up a couple of we did it during his show. And he screwed up a couple of times. The last time was so Bob Plass. I did it.
I did it.
And then Jay laughing in the background was just made it.
But you know, something like that, that's so natural. I think
Right.
it's hilarious, and I think it's so good.
That's why I just left it the way it was.
I know. Well, anyway, so we're back on Chamber Chatter. I had a little equipment problem. We're all good, and I was laughing at Bob Plass's little plug there. And all right, take a deep breath. I'm good. All right, so we're here with Susan Williams from Nations Lending, and she is a personal mortgage advisor, and of course she's a member of the Chamber. And what a great event this past Tuesday.
That was
my God, that
wonderful.
was amazing. So we had a little block party at the Westwood, Pete. We had over 55 people come. And what great networking.
Oh, terrific networking.
Oh, it was
I
really
always love
fun.
the after fives. They're
You
so
know,
great.
so and we love giving those opportunities for our members, you know, to make connections, and so we have our next one is coming up in February. It's February 10th. It is a Monday night, 5 to 7, and I'm so excited for Dawn. It's at the Pottery Cellar.
I've already put it in my date book.
Oh,
Yeah.
at the Mill at Crane Pond, and her shop or store, it's just so beautiful. So we're expecting, of course, another great turnout, and so I'm excited about that. So as you know, in the Chamber, we have a lot of small businesses, and many of them are self-employed.
Yes.
And you actually have a program for self-employed business owners, right?
I do.
So what is
We
this
do.
all about?
Well, you know, before the financial crash, you know, you used to have all these stated programs. You know, they put a mirror in front of you, and if the fogged up, you could get a loan. That's kind of how
Okay,
we used
there
to
you
look
go.
at it. They had all type of stated and no doc programs, and a lot of those, of course, are gone. But now, as things have moved along, new programs are coming back onto the scene. And one that I'm really excited about that Nations Lending has is a bank statement program. And it can be either your personal bank statements or your business bank statements. And what we do is we take 12 to 24 months of those, and the deposits are added up, and that counts as your income.
What?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, so those are great programs for your borrowers
Boy, is
that are
that easy.
self-employed. Because when you're self-employed, let's face it, if you have a good accountant, your bottom line is not showing a lot of income.
Well, right, because we all, you know.
You have a lot to write off.
Well, taxes are, you know, an evil necessity of our existence, but
You
we
have a
also
lot
don't
of
want to pay them. I
Right.
mean, we do and we don't. I mean,
Well,
so-
you have a lot of expenses that
Yes, of
you're writing
course.
off. And so
Absolutely.
usually when you're qualifying for a mortgage, we're looking for self-employed borrowers. We're looking at your 2 years
Nice.
tax returns. And the bottom
That
line
still doesn't
is
give you the true
income.
picture, right.
Yeah, and it's not the true picture of
Right.
really what the person is earning. So the bank statement program comes into play where we can give you a mortgage based on the deposits in your bank statements.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really that simple?
Yeah, it's a great program.
But I mean, they have to look at the revenue, the growth.
They look at
gross
it's over
deposits.
12 to 24 months. It can be personal or business.
And then
statements.
maybe depending on the amount would qualify for a certain amount of.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Wow, that's really
So-
easy.
Yeah, and it fills the need for our self-employed borrowers.
Wow. I know Pete's talking to somebody, but I want to ask if he knows of any self-employed people. I mean, I find that just mind-blowing.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we've been waiting for something to come out for a while because we had all these programs and they all went away, and then there was nothing for self-employed borrowers.
Pete, do you know anybody that's self-employed that needs?
Yeah, I know a few people that are. Yeah.
So I can remember. Well, when Robin and I were
Yes.
self-employed, and we started in her apartment, and then we were so nervous about getting office-based, and we were still so nervous to borrow money. We thought, who's going to lend us money? Because we were self-employed, and we started in 1985, and then of course 1989-90. Boy, the bank. I mean, there was just such a banking crisis, and so I'm just blown away by that.
Yes.
So how do you market that? How do people know? We got to tell everybody.
I know. I need to tell everybody. So Nations Lending, we pretty much, your one-stop offer you everything you need. And not only that, but we have the expertise. We have we're AAA with Better Business Bureau. We've been around since 2003. So, and we're very reputable. I'm very reputable. I've been in the industry a long time. Anybody in the area pretty much knows me. I've done a lot of mortgages.
And then there's some other nice benefits that you can offer regarding the closing costs, I guess, and the escrow.
Yeah, and a lot of people when they're buying a home, and it's because it's such a not frequent purchase that they do.
Right.
They don't fully understand what's involved. There's actually 3 things that you need when you purchase a home. You need your down payment. And if you're doing FHA, it's 3.5%, conventional 3% or more. Some people like to put 20% down. Or if you're doing a 100% program, then you do not have a down payment.
Okay,
But,
right.
But you need something aside from that. You're also going to have closing costs and you're going to have escrows.
What's the escrows for? I mean, the escrow. I forgot
Okay,
what.
escrows are your homeowners and your taxes, homeowners or hazard insurance, which you have to have on your house in case of fire or theft or someone comes in on your yard and falls down, and things like that. So homeowners or hazard insurance, and then your taxes. Now, taxes are going to depend on the city how often they're collected. In Westfield, it's every quarter.
They'll prorate
In
that.
Connecticut, sometimes it's once a year. So if you're talking taxes for 1 year and the taxes are $3,000. They're going to have to collect. It's a lot of money. So usually they'll collect a couple. Say it's quarterly. They'll collect 2 to 3 months of taxes. 1 year of your homeowner policy, because what happens is every month when you pay your mortgage, you're paying your principal and interest, your taxes, and your homeowners. So what happens is that gets put in an escrow account, and then when the bill is due, they have it. But when you close, they need to pay the homeowners 1 year in advance. So now they're saying, well, aren't you collecting that through your monthly payment? Well, yes, but that's for next year's policy.
Next year, okay.
So every month we're collecting on your homeowners, and next year when your policy comes up for renewal, we have the whole renewal.
Now, I'm so confused. Is that standard practice? Because I remember when I first got my mortgage, I paid my real estate taxes separate.
You can.
Oh, okay.
It depends on the program and what you're doing. If you're putting a lot of money down, you can pay that separately. If you're doing little down, it might be required as part of the program so that they know the taxes and homeowners is getting paid. Or depending on how much you're putting down, sometimes you can waive it, but it might cost you 1/4 point.
Okay.
But technically, you're not paying anything extra to have them pay it for you.
Yeah,
They're just collecting it and paying it for you. But with the homeowners, usually you're doing the 1 year policy, which is $1,000, and then they're going to collect a couple months.
Yep.
The taxes, they'll collect a couple months. So your homeowners, your escrows, you're probably looking maybe $1,000 or more, because then a couple days of interest. Now, this is why people like to close at the end of the month.
Yes.
It's a trick.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because if you close, say, on the beginning of the month, they're going to collect 28 days of interest, which could be $1,000.
Right.
If you close the end of the month, For escrows, they're only going to collect maybe 2 days of interest, $25 a day.
Yep.
So it's less money you have to bring to closing. So that's why usually you'll find a lot of your closings happen the end of the month.
So you said you have. So what does Nations Lending do with all this? This helps them how?
Well, okay, so you have your escrows and prepaids,
Yep.
which are taxes, homeowners,
And-
prepaid
yep.
interest, how many days you have to
Yes.
pay the interest. Then you have your closing costs.
Cost, the attorney,
Now,
and all the filing fees. So,
the
yeah, yeah.
appraisal, the
Oh, yeah,
survey, the the lender's title insurance, all those things that are required. Recording fees are $400 in Mass. So all those fees that are required to close your loan could be $5,000.
Right.
So now you're looking at, okay, I've got my down payment, but now I've got $5,000 or $6,000 I
in
need in
closing
costs and escrows. I don't have that.
Okay.
Well, that's where education and having the right mortgage advisor helps, because I work with your realtor and we say, okay, they have the down payment or they're doing the 100%, but they don't have the rest that they
Right.
need. So depending on their offer on the property, we can have the seller pay their closing costs.
What? Mm-hmm. And then it
But-
comes off the price.
But here's the thing, it's a seller's market. A
It is.
seller's not going to say, I'm not giving up $5,000.
Right, on my price.
So this is where I work with the realtor and I work with the borrower. We say, okay, here's the property. It's new on the market. It's a hot property. You're probably going to have to come in at a full price offer.
Yep.
But I need them to pay $5,000 of my closing costs. Well, usually in an appraisal, there's like a 3 to 5% margin in the value, generally. So what will happen is, okay, say the house is going for 180. Okay, let's offer 185 with 5,000 coming back for your closing costs.
Oh, nice.
So the seller is still walking away with the 180 they have it listed for. But what you did is you financed your 5,000 into the loan. The stipulation is the house needs to appraise for 185.
Yep.
But generally, most of the time with that margin, it usually comes in. So now you financed your closing costs, and for every $1,000 you're financing, that's $5. So for 5,000, you're paying $25 more a month. But then again, think that you're writing off the interest at the end of the year, because in 12 months of making your mortgage payment, in the beginning of a mortgage,
It's mostly interest.
11 months is pretty much interest. 1 month is probably going towards the principal. So for people that are paying a lot for a rent, to have a mortgage is such a great tax benefit, because now instead of paying at the end of the year or getting very little back on their taxes, they now have this tax write-off and they're going to get more back on their taxes. So if you're saying, I need to save 20% to buy a house, by waiting, you're losing money.
Yeah.
Because even if you have less down, you're losing all that tax benefit of tax money you'd be getting back at the end of the year.
Right. So there are ways
Absolutely.
to make this all work for home buyers.
Absolutely.
That's fair. That's really interesting. We're doing okay with time, or we need a break? Okay, we'll be right back. Chamber Chatter.
Just got home from Illinois, locked the front door, oh boy. Got to sit down, take a rest on the porch. Imagination sets in, pretty soon I'm singing. Do, 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 looking out my back door.
Moderating support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
And welcome back to Chamber Chatter. I'm Kate Phelan, the Executive Director of the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, and we are great, the Greater Westfield. So we cover 10 communities, and this morning we have a guest with us from Nations Lending, Susan Williams, and we've been talking everything mortgage, right?
Yes.
Which is great. So, Susan, we haven't even mentioned how people can get in touch with you. How do they do that?
Well, my cell number is 413-222-7746, and my work email is susan.williams, WILLIAMS, at nationslending.com. And of course, I'm available to look through at the directory at the Chamber.
Yes, so you're on our website as a member in our printed directory.
Yes.
This directory is its last year, and then we're going to be doing a new one for next year.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-year directory, but you're in there twice. So we list our members alphabetical and then by category. So. Yeah. Well, we really appreciate your membership and your support to the Chamber. And I know you participate in one of our other Chamber opportunities that we offer members that can't network at night. Mm-hmm. We do want to give a shout out for our Morning Brew crew, which is really pretty much managed by Dan McCulloch.
Yes.
He sits on my board of directors, so he's a great advocate to have on the Chamber board and for me. So he runs those. And let's talk a little bit about the Morning Brew. How's it going over there?
Oh, I love the Morning Brew. It's great because it's from 8 to 9. So, you still have your work day ahead of you.
Yeah.
Right now we're currently meeting at Shaker Farms Country Club, which is great. We have tea and coffee there, and it's really nice.
That's great. Yeah.
We have a pretty well-attended group that
Good.
comes to the Morning Brew, and sometimes we get some new ones in, and it's just great. We get to promote our own business, we get to network, and they usually have some kind of a speaker.
Good.
Yeah, so it's educational, and you get to learn about some of the other members as well, and great networking.
So I want to give a shout out to Shaker Farms because they're also a Chamber member, and we're so thankful that they're hosting those for the Morning Brew. So it's a great chance to network in the morning.
Yes.
And it's 1 hour, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I just think it's we try to give opportunities to our members, and sometimes everybody can't network at night. They have families, so there's challenges.
True.
So this is another opportunity. And I like how I can't attend those meetings. I have a conflict with 2 other committee meetings that I need to be at. So I don't get to pop in, but I hear they're doing well.
Yes.
And I'm just glad that it's working for people. And you've made connections. You made some good.
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. And there's been lots of business that has exchanged.
Good.
You see cards being changed. You see, different things happening where business is done. And the networking part.
See, so I know connections are being made. I just don't know about them. Yeah. So we're going to start something this year. We want we want chamber members to tell their story. So we're going to be putting this out over the next few months. We want to hear from members like, oh my gosh, if it wasn't for the chamber, or I met so-and-so because of the chamber. We really need to do some better self-promotion. We do have a good chamber.
Yes.
And I know people and businesses are making connections, but I can't know all of them because I can't be everywhere at the time. So it's hard,
Yeah.
but I know it's working.
Yes, I've made many connections and have done additional business just being a member of the chamber.
And that kind of speaks to our member-to-member program. We do want our members to first consider another chamber member first. Everybody wins. It drives the local economy instead of going out of our service area. Because we want each other, we want everybody to do well.
Yeah, and that's something I try to do too. If I need a service or something, I usually will try to keep it within the chamber because I know these people, I meet these people, I see them at the events, and I want to give them business just like
Right.
they want to give me business.
And
We keep it all local.
And because of the nature of your business, I think building relationships is really probably instrumental in what you do.
Absolutely.
People have to get to know you. And so if you come to 1 after 5, you're just going to start meeting people. But it's really that repetition because then they get to see you as a person and not just like, oh, yeah, she does mortgages, but they get to know who you are. And I think that's really important.
True, and a lot of times we have an interaction of conversation, and they'll say, "Oh, this is my situation," or "I have a friend that's doing," and then it comes that I can help them. Or also, there's quite a few realtors that are members, and
Yes.
they may not have known me, and I may not have known them. We knew of each other, but now we've become friends. And and that's something because now there's a trust and a value to our relationship. We've become friends, and I've done quite a bit of business with them as well.
So you mentioned the realtor. So I did want to talk to you about, because of your nature of your business and what you do, your marketing efforts. So how does that work for you when your office is a little bit, away from here, right?
Yeah, I usually work as a home base, and I am licensed in many states. Our company's licensed in many states, and we do a lot with our marketing, and we offer the realtors a lot of marketing as well. We do co-branded marketing. We offer them things as a service to them. For instance, I do a lot of open houses on Sundays with the realtors. And what I do is I'm able to take their MLS listing, because we have a great marketing team at Nations Lending, and we prepare an open house flyer with things that we pull right off MLS, right off the listing.
Yeah.
And not only is it a feature sheet that tells about the property with pictures, taxes, all of that, co-branded with the realtor's info and my info, but there's several pages to it where it'll break it down into the crime rate for that town, about the schools, all of that. It's actually like 5 pages, and they can hand that out at their open house. And I usually will attend their open house, and I'll be there to pre-approve any borrowers that come in or any questions they might have. We also have some other marketing things that we do. We do mailings, we do emails. We just rolled out this phenomenal, we had a great marketing setup anyways, but they've just expanded on it.
Oh, nice.
And, it's great for anyone that works with us as a realtor, and it's also great for our past clients, our future clients. We offer a lot to them.
Oh, that's wonderful. Marketing, in any business, whether you're retail, service, even the chamber, your nonprofit organizations, we all have to market ourselves, and it's always a challenge. And for some of us, there's limited budget, and but that's nice that you have the backing of, you have a corporate marketing department, which is really nice.
And they also, I also get a lot of business from past clients. I also get business referrals from colleagues and realtors, but I also want to give back, because giving back to my realtor base is important. And with Nations Lending, they feed me a lot of leads. We do a lot with lead generation.
Oh, lead generation.
Through several companies that Nation spends money on.
Yep.
They spend a lot of money on the lead generation, and I get fed these leads of borrowers that are looking for homes, and they don't have a realtor. So in turn, I can take that borrower, get them pre-approved, and then hand them to a
Realtor.
I just handed one the other day to a new realtor contact. I
Nice.
had met her at a chamber
At
event.
a chamber event. See, there
And
you go.
and we said, we had known each other from high school, but reconnected, met her at the chamber event. Said, we need to start working together.
Wow.
And I pre-approved this client a couple days ago, and I turned it over to her.
That's-
Said, go house shopping.
See, that's how it works. That is such a prime example of how the chamber can work. Can help the members. I always say that when I meet with a new prospect to join the chamber, I always say, look, the chamber will work for you, but you got to work the chamber.
Sure.
I mean, I do think there has to be somebody. They have to show up.
Yes.
Right? You got to show up.
Show up. But I have to say that this chamber has such great support. When we go to these events, I mean, there are people there. There's networking going on.
Yeah.
There's business going
on. Yeah.
You
Thank
know,
you for
and
that.
to-
Thank you
and it's,
for that,
I've
Susan.
been a member of the chamber, for many years, and,
Yeah.
and I would never consider not being a member of the chamber.
Well, thank you. A plug for Chambers of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
And we, I mean, I can't speak for all chambers, but I like to think that I have, I'm really compassionate and passionate about my members. I worry about my members. I think about my members. And it's, it's a challenge when you have so many different segments of industry. There's many different industries, different size companies, but they all matter to me, every single one of them.
Yeah, and you can tell. You can tell by
Thank
the way
you.
you run the chamber, and
Thank
we appreciate that as being
Thank
members.
you. So we advocate for our members. I can't help you with the mortgage lending rules, but because that's out of my purview. But we need to take a break. Wow, time is flying. All right, we'll be right back. Chamber Chatter.
Father wears his Sunday best. Mother's tired, she needs a rest. The kids are playing up downstairs. Sister's sighing in her sleep. Brother's got a date to keep, he can't hang around. Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our house. It has a crowd. There's always something happening, and it's usually quite loud. Our mum, she's so house proud. Nothing ever slows her down, and a mess is not allowed. Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our house in the middle of our street. Our tells you that you've got to move in the middle of our. Father gets up late for work. Mother has to iron his shirt. Then she sends the kids to school. Sees them off with a small kiss. She's the one they're going to miss in lots of ways. Father wears his Sunday best. Mother's tired, she needs a rest. The kids are playing up downstairs. Sister's sighing in her sleep. Brother's got a date to keep, he can't hang around. Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our house was our castle
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join us the third Wednesday of every month with Selectman Joe Didi and his take on everything Southwick.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
And we're on our last segment for Chamber Chatter. And we have Susan Williams here this morning with Nations Lending. You're doing okay, right?
No, yes.
This isn't hard, is it?
No, this has been wonderful chatting with you.
Some of my guests get so nervous before the radio show, and I'm like, it's easy. I try to, calm them down. And then, of course, once they get here and they talk about what they know, because they're the expert, it's easy to talk about what you know about,
True,
right?
True, yes.
Because I'll be the first to say, what you don't, what's that new saying? I don't know what I don't know. I don't know, right?
True.
So it is what it is, right, Pete? Thumbs up from Pete. Okay. So I mentioned our February After Fives coming up. Now we have our infamous St. Patrick's Day breakfast coming up March 13th. I'm so excited. We love this breakfast. We get, it's well attended, and everything is Irish. Everybody's Irish that day.
Lots of green, I'm sure.
Lots of green. We have lots of green. Chuck Kelly, Flowers by Webster. I'm sure you know Chuck. And he's our chief greeter again. And I'm so honored to have Associate Justice Ed McDonough. He'll be our first time having him as my keynote speaker.
Oh, nice.
And he has informed me he's like 99.9% Irish. So I'm looking forward to his presentation. So, of course, we'll be honoring the Sons of Baron Colleen in her court, an Irish Man of the Year, Irish Woman of the Year. So it's a great breakfast. And, of course, we have our new member welcome table. So we'll have new members, I'm sure, there, and they get to address the crowd. Well, you've done that.
I've done that, yes.
Which is another great benefit of our chamber. We like to get our new members out in front of the other members because you never know when you're going to make a connection.
Absolutely.
So that's coming up in March 13th, Westfield State University in Scanlon Hall. And then in March, we also have our first Mayor's Coffee Hour with our new mayor, Mayor Humison.
Yes.
So we're very excited to hear from him. He'll have a couple of months under his belt, which is not a long time after being a new mayor, being a senator, and then coming down to running a city. So that'll be interesting to have him to talk to our people. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, golf. May is not that far away.
No.
It's not that far away. And we have our golf tournament. So we always want raffle prizes and some stuff for our golf tournament. We want golfers, and they can call the chamber office 568-1618 about any of our programming. So that's that for what's coming up for the chamber. So Susan, our listeners and our audience who may be watching, obviously, a lot of people don't know, but you and I have known each other a long time in our former backgrounds, our former careers, and but I also had a chance to do some traveling with you a couple years ago. So you like to travel.
I do.
I would consider you a world traveler.
Yes, I would say I am.
So what? I know you're passionate about Italy, but is that really your most favorite place? Or if you had to pick one of your favorite places ever that you've been to, what would it be?
Well, my favorite city in the world is Florence, Italy.
Is it Florence?
Yes, I love Italy, and my mother, I even tried to take Italian classes, language classes at the Italian Center in Springfield, and my mother says to me, "But Susan, you're German."
You're German.
And I'm like, I know.
I am too.
I know.
I'm German too.
And I,
I
love
didn't know you were
my
German.
German heritage, but but I just love Italy.
You love Italy. That's okay. They're like close together. I mean, they're
Yes.
right in the same, they're
Yes,
considered Europe.
I had lived in Florence, Italy one summer, and that changed me. And, when you travel, especially when you travel abroad, culturally, you learn so much.
You
learn
do.
so much about the people, their culture, the land, their food and wine in Italy.
Which is really good. Yeah.
And you've been to Italy
Yes.
with me, and it's just life-changing. It changes you, and you look at life a little differently the more you travel. A couple years ago, I did get to go to Eastern Europe. I went to Cluj, Romania, Budapest,
Really?
Prague, and so that was a lot of fun too.
Wow. In traveling, and I've been to Singapore, Malaysia, and Kuala Lumpur, and then I went to Italy, and I've been to many of the different states in the U.S. and on a cruise, but when you travel the world, in your case, the world, the world's a pretty big place,
It is.
and we're really just one little. I'm one little person in this massive world, and it does give you a different perspective.
It does. And
Yeah.
it's just how people look at life differently depending on their culture of where they're from. And, some countries are more laid back. Some countries are more...
Like type A country.
Type A,
Keep going.
And one of the things about Italy that I found really interesting, because I have a lot of friends that are Italian that live in Italy, and, when we as Americans converse and we meet someone for the first time, it's like, oh, what do you do for a living? That's one of the first questions we ask.
Right.
In Italy, they never say that.
They
They
never
go,
ask.
what are your passions? What is your family? That's,
Oh.
and it's like, it takes you back, and it's like,
What?
oh, okay.
Like-
And because they just look at life a little differently. But of course, in Italy, too, there's a shortage of jobs. There's not a lot of, opportunities there, too. So that might be the reason. But it's just people look at things differently depending where you travel. And it's just life-changing to travel and to learn about other countries and cultures and to embrace the people of where you travel to.
I couldn't have said it better. So, so Florence is your favorite.
Favorite city in the world.
City in the world.
Yeah.
Do you know how big it is by any chance? I don't know what the population of it.
I don't. I just know there's many piazzas, and when you wander around, you always end up at a piazza, and there's usually music and wine and food and.
So one of my when we did the Italy tour, I never can say it right, but I think it was San Genomino.
There's Galgano and San Gemino.
San Genomino,
yes.
something like that. I think that was one of my favorite.
Yeah, that had the
places.
medieval towers, correct?
Yeah.
And they had the best gelato place that won a
everybody
world
raves
award.
about gelato. I mean, I don't care about gelato.
Oh, I love gelato.
But it is what it is. I mean, if you love it, that's great. But I loved that place. I just thought it was beautiful and it was fun.
It was.
So you like to travel, and that's great. You said you like to read.
Yes, I've been in a book club of all these, a group of women. We meet once a month.
Clubs. I miss my book club.
And it gives me the opportunity to read books I would not normally pick.
read. Yeah.
And it opens up your mind as well. And then when we go to the book club, and everybody puts in their 2 cents, they liked it, they didn't, or they they talk about the character and stuff, and they'll say something, and I'm like, oh, I never even thought of looking at it through that lens. So when you're conversing with someone, they look at it through a different lens than you, and it just makes it very interesting.
It does. I miss my book club. So can I ask you what you're reading right now? Do you know?
What's one? The Chemist. The Chemist.
The Chemist or
Yes.
Alchemist?
The Chemist.
The Chemist, okay.
Although I do love The Alchemist.
I read.
I love. That's one of my favorites. Yes.
Yeah, I read that in our book club.
This is The Chemist, and it's been a little harder book for me to read.
Yeah.
Not one of my all-time favorites, but it's
You'll get through it.
interesting. It's not my normal type of book, but I did love the Alchemist.
I know, wasn't that? Yeah,
that was great.
That was good. So. We are coming up to the end of our show, so I want to make sure that we give our listeners and our viewers one last little plug for Nations Lending. Okay. So, again, Susan, how can people get in touch with you?
I can be reached on my cell at 413-222-9700. 7746. My email is Susan, SUSAN, .Williams, WILLIAMS, @nationslending.com. And whether you're looking to be pre-approved now or in the future, I can put you on the right path, whether we need to do some credit repair or if you're ready now, what you qualify for. And one of the things we didn't touch on was the credit repair. We actually have a program where if your score is not high enough, I run it through this credit expert program, and it tells us what you need to do to get your score up. So I will work with you and guide you to get you to the place where you need to be to purchase.
Oh, that's fabulous. And of course, you can always call the chamber office. We have Susan's contact information
Thank you.
as a chamber member, and she's also listed on our website, westfieldbiz.org. So, Susan, it's been a pleasure having you.
Oh, thank you for having me on the
Oh,
show.
you're very, very welcome. So thanks again, and I'm sure I'll see you at a chamber event.
Yes, I'm
right.
sure you will.
Thanks.
Thank
Enjoy
you,
the rest
Kate.
of your day. Take
Bye-bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye.
I'm sitting in the railway station, got a ticket for my destination. On a tour of one-night stands, my suitcase and guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band. Homeward bound, I wish I was homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping, home, where my music's playing, home, where my love lies waiting silently for me. Every day is an endless stream of cigarettes and magazines. And each town looks the same to me, the movies and the factories, and every stranger's face I see reminds me that I long to be homeward bound. I wish I was homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping, home, where my music's playing, home, where my love lies waiting silently for me. Tonight I'll sing my songs again, I'll play the game and pretend. But all my words come back to me in shades of mediocrity, like emptiness and harmony. I need someone to comfort me. Homeward bound, I wish I was homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping, home, where my music's playing, home, where my love lies waiting silent.